In the top stories, work continues on old road upgrade. Drivers are asked to slow down. Turks and Caicos Islands plans to vaccinate all adults, and momentum builds to impeach Donald Trump. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today's Monday, the 11th of January 2021. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, work continues on the final phases of the Old Road Bay Road rehabilitation project. On Monday, ZIZ News spoke with Alexis Hazel, the owner of Rock and Dirt Construction Limited, responsible for the work being done on the project. He said right now they're preparing to pave, and they're calling on drivers to slow down as they work on the road.
We're asking the general public and the traffic to bear with us and please slow down. We're having some issues with the way how the bus drivers, all vehicles, the way how they're driving across. It's very dangerous for us to be out here working with you guys, trying to get this road finished, and you're not cooperating. So please cooperate with us and slow down.
He also gave an outline of the next steps in the road upgrade.
We're asking in the next week, maybe a couple of days, we're going to be starting some paving. So we're going to be closing the new road to put on the asphalt. The asphalt is a two-part layer. We're going to do the whole thing 2 inches and then come back and put on another 2 inches. So it's going to take us about 2 weeks. And so we're going to open back the old road for you guys to drive on until we finish paving the new road. And then we'll proceed by opening it. So we'll have a nice, beautiful road to drive on in a month and a half.
Owner of Rock and Dirt Construction Limited, Alexis Hazel. With plans to revive the pageants for Sugar Mass 50 later this year, the National Carnival Committee has already started the selection process for participants. In an interview with ZIZ News, Carnival Committee Chair Shannon Hawley said the response so far has been very strong and they plan to reveal the contestants by March.
We've had a number of individuals who have applied. We're going to be shortly doing auditions because of the sheer number of prospective participants. And we're going to be launching our pageant contestants, hopefully in the first quarter of this year.
She said the early reveal allows the public to familiarize themselves with the contestants and support them on their journey to the crown.
Individuals are going to be able to follow the queens on the road to the National Carnival competition and have an experience. Sponsors are going to be able to have their participants partake in any marketing activities, etc. So you're going to be able to follow the queens throughout this year to that National Carnival competition. So definitely the pageants will be back.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, National Carnival for 2020 had to be restructured with the removal of the pageants. Ms. Hawley said this year they plan to reinstate both the National Carnival Queen pageant and the swimsuit pageant. In other news, track and field in St. Kitts and Nevis received a boost this weekend with the recent acquisition of a flash time clock that'll provide the times of the athletes as they cross the finish line. This was revealed by acting president of the St. Kitts and Nevis Athletics, Delwayne Delaney, who was at the time speaking during the Challenge Series meet at the Kim Collins Stadium on Sunday. He also mentioned other developments to further improve the sport.
As we're saying, as we see that we're trying to further develop the sport. As behind of me you can see the flash time clock that athletes can now, and not only athletes but the spectators can be aware of times as the athletes cross the finish line. We also started to post our results immediately and our scores table below. As well, you can download a special app that's available on the Apple devices so that you can get real-time.
Delaney said with the release of the SKN Athletics calendar of events for 2021, persons can expect new and exciting events.
Our calendar of events have just been released, and we have some new and exciting events upcoming. What we'll see is some dual meets. So we'll have, like, for instance, Sandy Point versus Virgils, Cleon versus Sadlers, etc. Because of the fluidity of this COVID-19, we don't really have much leeway as it relates to schools participating. But nevertheless, we will have these athletes on show in a different manner as well as we want to do some of the zonal meets with the youth athletes, those in the primary schools. So we'll be coming to an area near you.
The calendar of events can be viewed on the SKN Athletics Facebook and Instagram pages. Regionally, the Turks and Caicos Islands will begin vaccinating people there for COVID-19 on Monday, the start of an ambitious program to vaccinate every adult. More in this Carib Update report.
On Thursday, there was medical sunrise at sunset. As the sun went down, hope rose that the Turks and Caicos could wage a successful fight against COVID-19 this year. Officials were on hand at the Providenciales International Airport to see thousands of doses of COVID-19 vaccines unloaded from the British Airways flight from London.
This is quite significant for us here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. It's a major achievement to be able to have the vaccine arrive on island so early.
This is extremely important. We're just grateful that we are part of this and thankful to the UK and Public Health England, who's on the ground assisting us all through the pandemic.
The product was taken via convoy on a 10-minute journey to the local main hospital, where hospital officials unpacked and unwrapped the packages almost as if it was Christmas morning.
2020 was tough for us, but we got through it. But this is where we take the fight to the vaccine now. We're on the front foot. I'm extremely excited.
Deputy Governor Anya Williams gave Carib Update an overview of the rollout plan, which is scheduled to start Monday.
We said the vaccination process will be carried out over several weeks. As we said, we will begin first with the healthcare workers and then with the vulnerable groups, and then also moving to our frontline officers. We will also be opening up a public registration process to allow members of the public to register for the vaccine as well.
It is widely believed that the top leadership of the island may be among the first to get the vaccine, mainly as an example to a large number of vaccine skeptics.
Monday is going to be a very big surprise as to who will be the first to take the vaccine, and I'll leave that right there.
The officials have emphasized that there is no reason to fear the vaccine, declaring that it is perfectly safe.
We've been taking vaccines all our lives, and I think one of the biggest myths about this vaccine is that it was fast and it was rolled out very quickly. But they've been working on this vaccine for about 5 years, and so it is something that is safe.
Officials are hopeful that the vaccine process will go a long way in helping life to return to normal here.
We hope to vaccinate our entire population. We're a very small territory, and so we're going to be quite ambitious, and we hope to vaccinate our entire population. We know that right now the vaccine is not recommended for persons 16 and under, so we're looking to vaccinate as many persons in our adult population as we can.
Yeah, so it sits as part of a lot of support we've had from the UK since the beginning of the pandemic. We've had from the UK ventilators, we've had PPE, we've had practical support, we've had testing capability, but this now comes from the UK at the start of 2021. They've sent us enough so we can initially vaccinate 10% of our population, and there's more coming.
Governor Nigel Dakin said TCI is emerging from a difficult 2020, but he said that it has managed the pandemic well.
Looking back, I think TCI has done as well as it can during this pandemic. I think enormous credit to the population of TCI. They understood from the very beginning that this could be very serious. They used their common sense, they followed instructions. We got through the first wave extremely well. We were able to open to the world in July. Since then, we've been able to welcome tourists here. We had 18,000 tourists in our island during December. We had more private jets in our island in November and December this year than last year. We couldn't have done that without the population being extremely sensible.
He predicts that this year is the year that things will get back to normal in this tourism-dependent land.
Our aim is to be one of the safest destinations in the Caribbean.
Very, very important that we do this to get back to a state of normalcy.
In Guyana, 30 students and 24 educators are now confirmed as having tested positive for COVID-19 since schools reopened their doors on Monday. They will be self-isolated for 10 days. Amal Griffith of HGP TV News reports.
Following rapid PCR testing at the dormitory institutions countrywide since the reopening of schools on Monday, 30 students have tested positive for the disease. On Thursday, 19 students tested positive for the disease and another 11 on Friday. 11 teachers and 13 auxiliary staff have also tested positive so far. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony confirmed this in his daily COVID-19 update. There are dormitory institutions in regions 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The health minister stated that in each region, COVID cases were recorded. The dormitory school students, teachers, and staff are said to be in institutional isolation. Institutional isolation facilities across the regions are being utilized to treat the patients.
Region 4, for example, those students who were at President's College and tested positive, and the staff there, we have isolated them at our isolation facility at Diamond. In other cases, apart from the institutional facilities that we have, within the same building, you can isolate people because they, keep them in separate rooms.
According to Minister Anthony, testing is ongoing at all dorms, and since not all students have returned in the first week, he estimates that the number of positive cases will increase.
Yes, more than likely, because I think the education system is expecting that they would have, over the weekend, they'll have students coming in.
The health minister had previously announced that all students and teachers returning to the dormitories would have to undergo a COVID-19 test. Earlier this week, he announced that the PCR and the antigen tests are being used. He stated that following these tests, a number of students were positive and subsequently isolated. Minister Anthony stated that those isolated students will be provided with worksheets for continuous learning. Guyana Teachers Union President Mark Light, in a previous interview with Nightly News, had called for transparency from government regarding the case count at the schools.
We would like to see more transparency, yes. If the numbers are 20 or 40, that must be released. But so far, we just have, I think, numbers from Essequibo and the dorms in Essequibo. So maybe sometime later today, the CEO will be giving that update to me as it relates to the numbers. But yes, we would like to see transparency.
Schools reopened for those students preparing to write the CSEC and CAPE examinations back in November 2020. After closing for the Christmas break, schools resumed physically for grades 10, 11, and 12 on January 4, 2021. For the HTP Nightly News, I'm El Griffith.
Internationally, U.S. Democrats will introduce formal articles of impeachment on Monday against President Donald Trump for, quote, willfully inciting violence against the government, end quote, as federal agents arrest more Capitol rioters. The 25th Amendment allows Vice President Mike Pence and the cabinet to declare the president unfit to carry out his duties and bars Trump from running for office in 2024. But not all Republicans are in favor of the move, and a new video on Wednesday's attack has added urgency to those calls. Al Jazeera's Patty Culhane reports.
This video, obtained by the Washington Post, shows just how few police officers there were to keep rioters, some armed with restraints and weapons, from getting to members of Congress. Members say when they were trying to get out the last available exit, there were only 3 officers holding the line, trying to give them enough time to escape. When they stepped aside, as a window was broken, a rioter was shot. The representatives and their staff escaped. This video was captured by a reporter for the Huffington Post. Rioters looking for the Senate. He says if they had turned right, they would have entered the chambers with senators inside. This lone Capitol police officer directed them away from it and up the stairs instead. But not everyone was this confused. One congressman says there is evidence some had planned their attack.
There is a mock office. There's an office that's got my name on the door, but they didn't bother that office. They went to the office where I usually work and where I usually am. My staff was in my office. They had all the furniture and stuff at the door, and there were people trying to get in.
We're going to the Capitol.
The president directed these followers to march on the Capitol. He told them the election was stolen. And now Democrats say he should pay for inciting an insurrection. They are moving to impeach him within days.
Our main priority is to ensure the removal of Donald Trump as president of the United States. Every minute and every hour that he is in office represents a clear and present danger, not just to the United States Congress, but frankly to the country.
But not all Republicans are on board, some using the same reasoning that they did after the president was impeached the first time.
Now, my personal view is that the president touched the hot stove on Wednesday and is unlikely to touch it again.
Many say an impeachment will only divide the country further, but some argue it's necessary for the long-term health of the country.
Until the United States starts taking steps to hold those who both participated physically in the actions but also incited the actions and aided them, until we see accountability for all of that and a renewed commitment among mainstream Republicans towards democratic norms and values, I'm afraid we should expect that this is only the beginning of the rise of Trumpism and perhaps even further violence.
It's unclear if legally the Senate can hold an impeachment trial for a president who's already left office. The courts will likely have to decide that. But it does seem likely that in the coming days, the House of Representatives will make sure that Donald Trump is the only U.S. president to have been impeached twice. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera at the Capitol.
And now for the weather. Present weather shows fair skies with a moderate breeze of 15 miles per hour from an easterly direction. The temperature for today is 24 degrees Celsius or 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are moderate with waves of 5 to 7 feet and a small craft caution is in effect. The weather forecast says to expect partly sunny skies with a 20% or slight chance of showers for today, and for tonight partly cloudy with a 30% or low chance of showers. Sunset today will be at 5:54 p.m., sunrise tomorrow at 6:43 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.